Hey, welcome to the Sounds on Vinyl show. This week we have Mars, weed, and vampires in the news. We have a warning for real this time. We didn't get to it last week, but this week we've got a warning and all kinds of other cool stuff on this episode of Sounds on Vinyl. We'll be right back to make your ears bleed. Hey, my name, as always, is Phil Boyer. And before I get to my co host, we are recording this on the day after Halloween. And if you're a longtime listener to this show, you know that I live in a haunted house. So today, when I was setting up for the show, I noticed something odd. So yesterday on Halloween, we rearranged our liquor cabinet. We have several bars in the house, right? A lot of them are prop bars, like where I'm at right now is a studio. And on the opposite wall, if you've seen the show before, you've seen the prop bar that we have set up. Well, we moving stuff around and we put some stuff on that bar. Well, I took everything off of it, except now that some of it is mysteriously moved back all on its own. It was put up in the liquor cabinet upstairs, but now it's back down here. Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Creepy.
Oh.
Creepy.
Oh.
There we go. And now.
That scared me.
That scared you? Yes, the haunted house. One of many creepy stories. If you've listened to, we did a Christmas show a couple years back, and all of a sudden there was a smell of perfume in this very room where we're recording. And a little history, this room that I'm in right now, the original owner of the house actually made tombstones in this very room. There's a door right here, and it's got a lock on the outside of it. I don't know if that had to do with protecting the tombstones or keeping something else inside of this room, but there we go. There we go. So a little post-Halloween horror for you. Mike's just sitting there and he's like, I don't know what's going on, man. He's like, okay. And speaking of Mike, my brother from another mother, Professor Rockstar Extraordinaire, lead singer of bands past, present, and future. He probably played in a band in this very room at some point in time when it was a speakeasy back in the 30s or something. I don't know. Probably not. But anyway, Mike, I know you got some records there. What do you got for us today?
First of all, I'm freaked out right now. I don't know what to say. I mean, how do you follow that? I mean, shit. I love Halloween. I mean, we're late bloomers here in Scandinavia, but we're celebrating from the get-go. It's called All Hallows Eve, and whatnot. It's more of a pagan thing, but we tend to follow the US and UK with the real Halloween, where kids demand candy and knock on your door and say trick or treat and so forth. And it's all in good fun because I love it. I think it's cool that there is a holiday like that right before Christmas. It's one of my favorites though. But I mean, shit, you're living it. Damn. Fucking hell.
We got the real thing in this house.
You got the real thing. I mean, we're pretending, always pretending over here, and you're living it. Jeez.
Yeah.
Man. Oh, and speaking of living it, I live with vinyl records, as you know.
You do?
Yes. And today I'm going to start off talking a little bit about reprints of really, really expensive albums. And why is that? Well, mostly, I mean, we could go back to the original pressings of the Black Sabbath, the first Black Sabbath album, original pressing with the vertigo swirl and all of that, of course it's going to cost you a lot. But these are newer bands with a huge amount of streams nowadays and whatnot. But their vinyl records, they were released between like 19 these particular albums, I think 1992 or something like that, 93, 94, or like let's say the mid 90s up until 2000, where the vinyl record production took a dive because everybody wanted CDs.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't make vinyl records like they did when you and I were growing up. So with that being said, there was some limited edition of certain albums that got released back in the day when those albums were made. So I've taken the liberty of having a couple of these on the show today, and I'm starting off with Dio's Strange Highways. And if you're watching YouTube, you can see me holding up this beautiful copy. And now this is a reprint of this album, remastered and released in the first one. Original was released in 1993, and this one came out last year, I think. Yeah, 2021. So, and why am I happy holding this in my hands and not the original one? Well, I don't own the original one because I couldn't get it. And every time I tried, let me see, I'm gonna check my notes. It's up for like 350 $350, which
Jeez.
is like 3,500 Swedish crowns, which is fucking nuts.
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. And now you can get this reprint, remastered version for like $35, something like that, which I think it's it's the way to go. I of course, if I were to run across an original from '93 for a decent amount of money, I will grab it, of course. But for me, I just want to own and listen to the music because that's me. The only band that I really collect it's Kiss, so I need the originals there. But I'm listening to, of course, I'll listen to most of the Kiss records that I got in my collection. So I'm not just hoarding. I'm actually listening to them, and this is what I do with Dio. So
Now
this
let me
is
interrupt you real quick. So
yes.
let's say you found this in a dollar bin,
Mm-hmm.
and it was in fair condition, maybe a little less than fair condition,
You
but
mean the
it's the
original?
original.
The
The
original?
original.
Okay,
Would you get it?
of course. In the
What
dollar
if it
bin,
was in
Brenna,
poor condition?
I would get it.
Okay, so it wouldn't matter the condition.
No, no,
You'd still get it.
I still get it because
Okay.
I it's for me. It's owning a copy of history. It's not just about the music. It's for me. It's a piece of history. It when you grab an album that same year or yeah, well, the same year or same date the music came out, you get it at as it was intended to be, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just happy that this is a remaster, The Strange Highways, so I can get it and I can listen to all the great music that's on here. But it wasn't intended to be like this at all from the get go because it was released in 1993 and the technology was different and the remastering was different and so forth. Not necessarily better, but it was intended like this. Ronnie James Dio was still alive, still in control of his music, sitting there with the producer and the mastering engineers and telling them how he wanted the sound to be, to be projected onto the vinyl record and for the people to enjoy back in 1993. So
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, I would get a copy even if it was in poor condition. I wouldn't pay a lot of money for it, but to own a piece of history. So that's why I'm doing this.
There you go.
So there I go. That was Strange Highways with Dio. And I have to show you another one. This is John Norum's Face the Truth. He's the guitar player of the Swedish band called Europe. Europe the band. And you wouldn't think much about this one. It was released in 1992, and you're thinking to yourself, so why is this so special? It goes for the original copy goes for like $200, 250, which is like
Oh,
2,000 Swedish crowns.
wow.
And so why is that? Well, I dig some, did some digging and found out that it mainly is because it was so close at hand to him leaving and becoming a solo artist. And on this particular album, Joey Tempest from Europe is doing a song with John, because people thought that he was leaving Europe because he was mad at the rest of the group, which wasn't the case at all. He
Mm.
he just thought it was way too much with playback shows in America and South America and so forth, and the music became too popish for him. He is a blues rock guitar player, so so that's why. So this is a also a reprint that I bought, which is really cool. It's blue marble, I think, or just a blue. Yeah, blue marble.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
holding it up for people who are watching on YouTube. This is a beautiful piece of art here. So
Yeah, that's
I'm happy.
crazy.
It is. It is crazy. So, and speaking of stuff that it's not the most common music out there, but still, and I think that's why it's so freaking expensive. This is Swedish death metal band called Entombed, and this is a latter one. It was released in 2000 2001, and the first album came out in 1991. So, and this is a shocker for you right here. The original goes for $850. Between
Jesus.
850 and $1,000 for an original copy of Entombed's Morningstar. And they begun to make reprints and remasters of their albums that is so hard to get for a decent price.
Damn.
So I'm happy about this. What do you think about bands like Dio and so forth releasing their most precious albums that you can't get a hold of because they were released in limited edition back in the day? Do you think it's a good thing, or should we keep it to the originals?
Well, I think that, with prices like this, like who the fuck can afford 850 bucks, right? But
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you
I
can
know.
get it for 30, 20,
Hmm.
30, whatever, I think that's a good thing because ultimately it's about the music,
It is.
right? And if you can get it, then that's the most important thing. It shouldn't
Yeah.
be reserved to just those that are rich that can afford these originals. Now,
Mm.
if you can get your hands on the originals, then I don't think it doesn't appear that these re-releases, reprints affect the price of the original. So those still have and retain their value. So
Mm.
that's a good thing. That's still a
Yeah.
good thing. So it's not really hurting anybody. And in fact, it's allowing more people to own the music and enjoy the music. So
Mm.
I'm all for it.
I think so too, and this goes. It's funny because we talked about this, and we want people to send in DMs or record a voice mail, and I was talking to a guy that we hooked up newly on Instagram, and he told me he thought my Instagram page was totally fabulous with all the albums, and he sent me a note and said, "Dude, you got some serious collecting issues," and with a smile, of course, because he was just starting out. He's been he I think he's a young dude because he's only been in the vinyl collecting business for like 10 years or something like that. And he asked me actually, which is connected to this. So, do you listen to all of your albums, or do you just collect them as a piece of art that you're showing off, and so forth? And that's the first time I've ever heard. I get that young people think that. Well, I think it's okay nowadays if you want to buy a piece of art and you call it a vinyl record. I have no problem with this. I got a little how do you say it? Not afraid, but I was baffled about people buying vinyl records just to put them up on a shelf and showing them off, because I thought that this was like something you do to say, "Oh, I own a vinyl record. Am I not the coolest ever?" And I thought, well, that's kind of weird. But then I get, because I talked to my daughter about this, and she has made one of the shelves where she puts up vinyl records for display in her room. And she said, it's beautiful artwork. And having paintings on the wall doesn't apply to me at all, because I don't want that. I want this, because these are artists that I listen to on a daily basis, not necessarily on vinyl records, but I bought them to support the band or artist, and I keep them on my wall just to look at them, and to get all the pieces of merchandise and posters and whatnot in there. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
getting where John is coming from the UK with his question. And yes, I do listen to all of my albums. It it's it's gonna take me a while, but during a year, I listen to at least, I would say, I did I calculated this. I took it broad strokes. 80% of my vinyl collection I listen to uh, all year round on a daily basis, and I keep
There you go.
track. Also, I keep track because it's original for me to listen to vinyl records. Still, it takes me back when I was a kid, when there was no social media and there was no connection to the outer world, if you know what I mean. You couldn't we couldn't be able to do this, you and I,
Mm-hmm.
when we were growing up, because it didn't exist. We have to pick up
Right.
a landline phone and call one another. So it's yes, I listen to all my vinyl records on a yeah, yearly basis. Is that the correct term? I don't know, but I go through them, give them some love
There
in
you
there.
go.
So there I go.
Awesome.
That's it.
That's it. All right. I want to talk about a band that I meant to talk about last week, but we just
Hmm.
ran out of time and just didn't make it happen.
Yeah.
And I'm about to shock everybody right now because I kind of accidentally stumbled upon this band. They're called The Warning.
Hmm.
And I thought maybe they were a Queensryche cover band at first, right?
Oh.
But no, they're not. It's three sisters from Mexico or Argentina. I'm not sure. I've seen them labeled as from both countries, so I'm not exactly sure.
Hmm.
But there was this live concert in San Francisco, I think it was. And these girls have some fucking talent. Let me tell you, it was. I popped this on, and at first I'm like, okay, this isn't my thing. And I think anybody that listens to this show is probably going to think the same thing. It's not your thing, but they've got some heavy riffs. They've got a lot of bluesy bass going on. It's and all the girls sing in the band, and they all have great voices. At first, because I was watching the lead singer, and then I heard vocals, and I'm like, her mouth's not moving. And then I realized it was the drummer that was singing. I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? But yeah, so and so this guy recorded their entire concert and put it up on YouTube, and it's like an hour, a little over an hour long, and it was just great musicianship. I don't like all of the songs; some of them are a little on the poppy side for me, but they do have some heavy stuff. And so I'd encourage everybody to go listen to their latest album. It's called what's it called? The Error, I think. And some of my favorite songs on that record are called Disciple, Money, Evolve, a song called Z, just the single letter Z. And that one actually reminds me of some of the more recent Metal Church.
Oh,
Which
cool.
is, it's not heavy like Metal Church, but it's um, the melody and the way it's sung is kind of reminds me of some more recent Metal Church. And Kool-Aid Kids is a kind of a fun song. And then off their Queen of the Murder Scene record, which I think is their second record, you got to give Dust to Dust a listen. So again, it's not the typical stuff. Don't think it's like Priest or real heavy stuff. It's more rock and roll, got a little bit of blues, a little bit of pop. So if you're not into that, skip those songs. But I think this band deserves a listen. They are signed to a major label. Otherwise, I try to get them on the show. But yeah, good stuff.
Cool. Have to check them out. The Warning.
The Warning.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So, talking about stuff like um, rock and roll bands and writing music and performing, and you put your heart into doing this. Me as a lyric writer myself, songwriter to a certain point, but to get question if you're one of those major artists that released like timeless classics, and all of a sudden some, I don't know what you call it, goofball or whatever, to say it mildly, uh some fucked up, I don't know where I'm going with this, but the thing is, there's a rumor going around. I think it was Rolling Stone magazine who started the rumor. I'm not sure on where it came from, but uh, Brian Johnson of AC/DC had to go out, and he felt forced to say something about this, because there's the rumor that Bon Scott, the late great Bon Scott, original vocalist of the Australian rocker AC/DC, had in fact written the song "Back in Black," which ended up in Brian Johnson's debut album for AC/DC when he became the singer in 1980. And he felt forced or threatened or whatnot to have to go out and talk about this, which I think it's, I mean, he rode a storm out, but in the end he had to say something about it. And it's I will quote him, and he says, it was me at the end of the pen, writing every night and every morning with only the title to work with. So it was Brian Johnson who did Back in Black. I mean, who come up with stuff like this? I mean, really? Is this what it has to come to?
People are
You
assholes.
start a rumor. I mean, you and I both know that they were in the Bahamas. It was raining. He wrote Hell's Bells because the weather was totally fucked up with storms and whatnot. And they were cooped together, the whole band. They were still, I guess, they were still mourning their friend Bon Scott, and there's this new guy who thinks, "Wow, I got the opportunity of a lifetime. I'm gonna go all in," and they released Back in Black with Johnson writing almost all the lyrics to that album, and to be doubted. What is it, like 30, 40 years ago? It's fucked up. I mean, to start that rumor, who does that? I mean, have you heard the rumor?
Yeah, I heard it and I quickly dismissed it because
Oh, me
I
too.
you hear the stories about Brian Johnson writing some of the songs on that record, and the idea that, I mean, the song is called Back in Black, and I guess it could have different meanings, I suppose. But obviously, the meaning of that record was, hey, we're back in mourning, after Bon Scott, we got this new guy. I mean, it just, the idea that they paint Brian Johnson in a bad light, like he's trying to steal anything from Bon Scott, I think is ridiculous. And I would have thought, too, at the time, if Brian Johnson was trying to steal anything, the rest of the band would have said, "Hey, fuck you, you're not doing that. Now you're out of the band."
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
I don't think there's any truth to it at all. I think
No.
it's a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
And
I
we
mean,
just enjoy this fucking epic album without
yeah.
questioning anything on it. It's an iconic record. Everybody loves it. Let's just leave that record be as is, and let's just fucking headbang to it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, to be able as a band release like two epic records. I mean, I think it was like a year, little more than a year between Highway to Hell and Back in Black, and to be able to do that. I mean, two albums that stands the test of times. They're timeless, epic with two different singers. Just leave it at that. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there's people that think that Brian shouldn't be in ECDC and whatnot, but well, go listen to something else. Who cares? Leave Brian Johnson alone, for crying out loud. I mean, he's an epic singer, and Back in Black, like you said, it's an epic album, and just leave it at that, and listen to the music. It's so fucking
It's
unbelievably
great.
good. So it's great. It's
It's
great.
amazing. Yeah,
It
yeah.
is. It is. Yes. So what else is new?
Well, last week you had brought up how Motley Crue was one of the bands that are headlining Sweden Rock
Mm-hmm.
Festival
Yeah.
next year, and
Yes.
that we talked about Motley Crue and should they give it up or not, and
Mm-hmm.
that whole discussion.
Yeah.
Well, Mick Mars decided to give it up. He's
Yeah.
hanging out. He's not touring anymore. He decided to retire from that due to his long standing illness. I'm actually surprised he lasted this long.
Yeah.
At
Me
this,
too.
I can't remember the exact name of his illness, nor could I pronounce it if I could. But it just sounds like the most painful thing in the world, where your back vertebrae kind of fuse together. That just
Yeah.
doesn't sound like anything I'd want to go through, or
Yeah. It's horrible.
go on tour and
Yeah.
pop up on a stage and play for an hour.
Hmm.
But replacing him is John Five.
Oh yeah.
What do you think? Good choice? Bad choice?
Oh, I think it's the right choice. I mean, he's it's funny because John has he has an Instagram account called Nights in not night as dark or as night as the knight in shining armor, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Knights in Satan's service.
Kiss.
Yes, where he shows off his incredible collection of Kiss memorabilia, and it's from like the start in 1974 and up till I think it's 1983 or something like that. He stops at at a certain point. I think it's Creatures of the Night. It's only the makeup era, and my God, that Instagram account, all the stuff that you want in your own collection. Me pointing at me. It's in there. It's fucking crazy. There is stuff in there that I haven't even seen before. I've heard
Wow.
rumors, but he's I don't know where he gets all the stuff, but it's in there. And I think he's a good guy. He's a cool dude and a great guitar player. So why not? Um, I don't care too much about Motley Crue these days. So for me, it's sort of like, well, yeah, okay, if you're happy and a Motley Crue fan, and then I'm happy for you because you get to see your band perform again.
Hmm.
For me, not so much. I don't care. I don't
Yeah.
care. I think Johnny's a great guitar player, and he seems to be a cool dude. So why not? So
There you
what do you
go.
think about?
Take it or leave it.
Yeah, you're like me. Eh,
It is
yeah,
what it is.
it is. It
You
is.
know. John Five. Yeah, like you said, he's a good guitar player. He's not. He doesn't get on my nerves like Zach Wild or some of these guys do that are, that think they're the God's gift to the guitar world. You know. So it's cool. It's fine.
So
I'm
it's
happy
cool.
for him.
Yeah.
So what else you got?
Oh, talking about singers, we're talking about this. There's, I don't know if you heard about him. He's called Bruce Dickinson. Have you ever heard
Yeah,
of him?
he's the guy that produced Don't Fear the Reaper.
Yes, he's the guy. He's the guy right there. Uh,
uh,
um, Bruce Dickinson of Iron Maiden, of course, is the Bruce we're talking about. Um, he tends to go off sometimes when I mean there's a at a certain point enough is enough when you're a lead singer of a band, big or small. I don't know. um I started thinking about this, if there ever was a time when I had to do something similar to what I'm going to talk about in just a minute, but I can't think of anything. I mean, people are throwing stuff and behaving badly, but most of the time security is there to straighten people out or throw them out. I don't know. But this time, Bruce gets off on in I think it's in South America, where people are smoking weed, um, and I don't know if they throw stuff or something like that, but it's weed smokers. And he had enough, so he said, "I'm amazed that you can even see, and it fucks up my voice, and Steve hates the smell of marijuana, so quit doing what you're doing." There's a whole video, so I only watched a snippet of it, but
hmm.
he tells the audience off there are dope smoking in front of Bruce Dickinson of Iron Maiden. So what do you think about this? Should a lead singer react like this in front of a whole crowd?
Well, honestly, taking the legality and the morality of smoking weed aside for a second,
Yeah.
um, smoke can fuck up a voice.
Yes.
And I feel that he's well within his rights. His voice is his instrument. It's how he earns a living. And if somebody's doing something else to harm that, then I feel he's got a right to say something.
Yeah.
You know, um, that's yeah. I mean, I think it's rude to go like we live in a state where like most of the states here in America have banned smoking in a lot of public places, but here in Idaho, I feel like everybody's still in the 70s and everybody's still smoking like chain smokers. We have neighbors on both sides of us that smoke, and we'd be sitting on the porch and we'd get the cigarette smoke, and it makes my wife nauseous, like the smell of that. We grew up like our parents smoked that we'd be like going down in the car, windows all rolled up and the smoke and everything. So like we're kind of over it, and it makes us sick and it's just horrible. And I think that's rude to go and do to other people. You could say, well, there's alcohol's legal. Yeah, but alcohol doesn't affect like I can sit and drink a shot of whiskey on my porch and that's not going to affect anybody else.
No.
Right. So I feel like, yeah, Bruce is well within his rights to
Oh
say
yeah.
something and,
Mm.
and go off. I
I
think
totally
that's
agree. I
it's not
totally
the right
agree.
place. You're affecting everybody.
Yeah.
Like if you want to smoke weed in your house, fucking have at it. I
Yeah.
don't care.
No.
Right? It's fine by me. Go do what you
Yeah.
want, but keep it out of the public.
Yeah. All the venues in Europe, you have it's no smoking allowed. So if you go to a venue in Germany, or you go to a venue in Copenhagen or whatnot, you're not going to be able to smoke.
As
So,
it should
and
be.
yeah, and it's like you say, it's his instrument, and he had throat cancer, for crying out loud,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
he got
He
rid
doesn't
of.
need any
So
more problems.
no, so I get that if this affects him, I mean, it's greasy stuff in the air with marijuana. So I mean, it has to affect him even more than original cigarette, I think, because I don't know if you're a secondhand smoker and if it gets stuck, but it's well in his rights to say, "Fuck you! I think you should be out of here." So I agree with Bruce. Bruce, Bruce, Bruce. See,
Well, there you
there you
go.
go.
And I've got also have some maiden news here.
Oh,
So, you hear a lot of bands that are like canceling their tour, saying, with diesel prices where they are, it's too expensive to tour and this and that, and people aren't
yeah.
showing up for the shows. Some bands are saying. However,
Mhm.
Iron Maiden just thanked all the fans because on the Legacy of the Beast tour, they sold over 3 million tickets.
Oh man,
3 million tickets. So
3 million.
people are going to
Jesus,
shows.
they are. Damn, three
Yeah,
million tickets. That's
3
something
million.
else. Well, I went to see the show and I enjoyed it. Fucking hell. I mean, they still can play. I mean, to be able to, talking about Bruce again, to be able to defeat your throat cancer and be like 60 something, 61, 2, 3 or something like that, and still be able to run around like a maniac on stage, singing your heart out, and be able to do it like that. I mean, you have to tip your hat to a guy
Mhm.
like that. I mean, say what you will about the new music that they released. Some people tend to hate it. Some people tend to love it. I'm the latter one. I really dig it. But to be able to see a maiden show, you still get your money's worth. You get like
Mhm.
2 hours of entertainment from like six guys that are there from like the first note to the last and giving it 110%, which I think it's pretty cool. So hats off
Mhm.
to Maiden, and good for them. 3 million
Mm.
tickets. Fucking hell.
Yeah. That's a lot
Jeez.
of money too, man.
That's a lot of money.
What is that? That's like $300 million of $100 a ticket.
Oh shit.
That's a lot of dough. But I mean, there's still cost to touring, so that's not all
Yeah.
profit. But
Yeah.
still,
Still, it
there you
is.
go.
But yeah, there we go.
There you
Well,
go. You
that's
got anything
it.
else in the news?
No, I think that's it. Oh yeah, I actually I'm looking at my notes here. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, the Hollywood vampires. Do you know about them?
Everybody in Hollywood is a vampire. They will suck you dry if they get the chance.
Ooh, hoo, 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 hoo.
But if you're referring to a band, no, I've never heard of them.
Never heard of them. Okay, it's a band that is consisting. It's a super group with Alice Cooper on vocals, Joe Perry of Aerosmith on guitar, Johnny Depp on guitar. You got what else? Tommy Hendrickson from Alice Cooper band on guitar. You got Glenn Sobel also from the Alice Cooper band, and you got Chris Wise on bass guitar. He played with the Cult, I think. So
Now that you say this, yes, I
yes,
have heard of these guys. Yes,
yeah,
I take it back. That's yeah.
yeah,
I kind of forgot about these guys, but yeah.
yeah. So not a fan, no.
To be honest, I don't think I've ever heard any of the music.
Yeah, they started out doing cover songs, because it was supposed to be just a fun project where they got together and just jammed, because they like one another. So and it started out just like that, and then they released an album, and they people were asking them to start touring, and they did, and then they released a second album, and there is some original songs on there too. It's quite good, actually.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
It's Yeah, it's you're not gonna be like blown away. It's not gonna be something that, oh, never heard this one before. It's You're gonna hear Aerosmith, you're gonna hear Alice Cooper, you're gonna hear
Right.
all the stuff in there. So
It's just fun, huh?
yeah, it's
Yeah,
traditional rock and roll. So
yeah. Okay.
Johnny Depp sings David Bowie's Heroes, which I
Oh,
thought was, damn, dude can sing too. So
I know. Don't you hate these motherfuckers?
yeah,
They can act, they can sing, they can play 20 different instruments, and
yeah,
like Dave
fuck
Grohl, man. Like, dude, is
yeah.
there anything that you paint too? Like, what the fuck? You do sculptures? Whatever.
Oh, that's so fucked up.
Fucking.
Well, that's it. So
That's
they're
it.
going on tour next year, doing a European tour. So not gonna be playing my neck of the woods, but I don't know. Maybe if I'm in Germany, I will go see them. But it's an entertaining group. So
Yeah, I don't know if
uh,
they'll come to. I don't get anybody in my neck of the woods. That's why I
no,
didn't see Maiden this time around because I'd have to go to Salt Lake, and that's like a 4 hour ride. I'd have to get a hotel plus the cost of tickets. It's
yeah,
going to cost me like $800 to go see Maiden, and
you
it's not
only
going.
get the chain smokers.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh no, oh
Oh.
no, oh no.
No. But yeah, I mean,
Well,
it'd be cool if they came up. We get some stuff here. We've got a Indian reservation and casino down the
oh
road here, and we get some stuff. Usually, like Motley Crue or somebody
yeah,
like that will play.
at the reservation.
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
yeah. So maybe they'll come over there. We'll go check
Cool.
them
The
out. That'd be
Native
fun.
Americans are more rock and roll than the, I don't know, whatever you people call yourself, but it's I'll go I'll go with them. I'll go with
Yeah,
them. Yeah.
they've well, to give you a hint of what we get, I think if you're familiar with some of the '80s, I don't even know, pop or whatever you'd call that, like Richard Marx is playing, I
Oh,
think, or just
damn.
played. There's billboards all over the place. So
Oh,
that's the
that's
kind of caliber we get. So
oh,
it's usually, like Nobodies, or I think Alice Cooper
nobody's
did come play in Idaho Falls at one point a few
cool.
years ago. But so it's not out of the question. Hopefully, that'd be cool.
Hopefully, yeah.
All
So,
right. So
should we? Yeah, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I'm thinking that should we leave the people with a teaser of what's coming up?
You know
Should we
what?
just mention it?
Yeah, you and I are on the same wavelength, because I was going to say
Oh,
the exact same thing.
cool. Then
So
I think you're gonna ride with it. Go ahead. You take the lead on this one.
so next week.
Oh yeah.
Next week is very, very special. It's a very special episode
Mm-hmm.
because we've hit a huge milestone. Next week will be episode 100.
Ooh.
100 episodes.
Damn.
And yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're going to have all kinds of fun stuff. We're going to have some music.
Oh
We're
yeah.
going to have some guests. We're going to have
Yeah.
some whiskey.
Yeah.
We're going to have some
Track by track
naked ladies.
description of the Black Album. No.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm gonna listen to the Black Album in my headphones, and I'm going to sing along,
Oh
while at the
yes.
same time review it, give a play-by-play and review.
There we go.
So you can look forward.
that's a that's a that's a completely different show altogether. We should do a special about that. That's a bonus episode right there. Phil listening to the Black Album when Andrew Salmon, fuck, what the fuck is going on here? They can't play anymore. Damn, that's the worst thing I've ever heard. It's gonna be so much fun. Well, tune in because it's going to be an epic show. Like Phil said, we're going to have a lot of music, a lot of cool things, reminiscing, and, talking about a lot about vinyl records, of course, and whatnot. It's going to be a big surprise, but the 100th episode coming up next week on Sounds on Vinyl podcast. Fucking hell. And if you want to be a part of it, or you want to be a part of the show, hook us up. Go to soundsonvinyl.com and you get all the info. And don't forget to subscribe and check out the Instagram account at Sounds on Vinyl. And we're on Facebook too. So, and that's it. That's all I got.
I'm going to take it one step further, what you said. If you wanted to be part of the show, we've set up we partnered with SpeakPipe.
Oh.
So go to soundsonvinyl.com/fan-feedback, and you can record a 90-second voicemail to us. You can tell us what you like about the show. You could tell us what you don't like about the show, your favorite episode, and why it was your favorite episode. And, maybe it'll make the show.
Cool. And if you're like me, you don't remember shit when people tell you to go to www. Is there a link you could?
There'll be a link
on?
in the description.
Oh, cool.
Wherever you listen, podcast players, YouTube, BoozeHound TV, wherever.
Cool. Click on the link.
Soundsonvinyl.com. It'll all be there.
All right. Well, until next time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Later.